I love it when Jay Norvell is out here saying stuff. And I mean that sincerely because Jay Norvell is one of the cool guys in college football, and he has been for quite some time. And I've known Jay Norvell off and on for the better part of 15 years. I say off and on because when I first started covering Oklahoma football as a beat writer, Jay Norvell was wide receivers coach at Oklahoma for Bob Stoops. And many of y'all got to know Jay Norvell really for the first time as the Colorado State Rams were getting ready to play their in-state rival, Colorado, right? So going into that game, Colorado was 2-0. They had just beaten a number 17 ranked Texas Christian on the road. We saw what they were good at. Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter moving the ball down the field through the air, Jimmy Horn, Xavier Wheeler, even Dylan Edwards through those first few games. We also saw what they were bad at, protecting the quarterback and getting after the quarterback. Well, going into that game, a lot of hype because Coach Prime brings a lot of hype to almost everything he does, especially in-state rivalries that now got a little bit of juice. And Jay Norvell added to that juice. Jay Norvell was talking in a presser going on that weekend. He says, look, when I talk to parents, I take off my hat and my glasses, and that was enough. That was it, right? We all heard it. Prime heard it. You heard it, because you'll know that Prime wears his hat and his glasses almost everywhere he goes. Now, he didn't have them on Big 12 Media Days, but if you see him on the sideline, he got a gold whistle around his neck, which is real gold, so you can't blow it, right? It's just there for show. And then he's got his blenders on, which is a branded sunglasses that go for like $60 a pop if you want those. And then, of course, a hat, right? Sometimes it's a cowboy hat because he'd be in Colorado and they do cowboy stuff in Colorado. Or he's in a ball cap, right? Either way, it's bespoke, right? It's very difficult for you to find the gear that Prime is wearing because Prime's gear is custom to Prime, which, you know, goes right along with his image. One of a kind, cut from a different mold, all those things. So when we hear Jay Norvell say these things, it gets back to the in-house production company, Smack, that is run by Deion Sanders Jr., who's very good at this, by the way. Bucky's excellent, one of the best we got in the game at creating content and pushing content, right? And Coach Prime gathered his players and said it's personal, right? He kept saying it was personal. And leading up to the game, that was the vibe, right? Grudge match, all those sorts of things. You're hyping a fight, right? You're hyping a big match, a big game for both of them, quite honestly. And it turned out to be dramatic. It was great. It was outstanding. It was high scoring. It was back and forth. Travis Hunter got knocked out of the game by Henry Blackburn. I and others call that hit dirty. Travis did not. I don't know what Travis was looking at because what I saw was Henry Blackburn try to take him out. And then they had, you know, the kumbaya on the bench and shake hands and whatnot for the cameras. But, you know, it's football. You're going to get hit. They're going to get hit. And grudge matches is how we do this thing. A controlled aggression, harnessed aggression. That's football. So following that, we've been kind of paying attention to Colorado State. Colorado State had a pretty damn good quarterback last year that kind of showed himself in that game against Colorado. Brayden Nicolosi Fowler, he went for 367 against Colorado in that game and ended up passing for over 3,000 yards. Turned out to be a pretty damn good redshirt freshman quarterback. And I think he was like all Mountain West honorable mention, which is no small feat given that UNLV was great, Boise State was and Fresno State was awesome, right? Those two schools in particular were pretty damn good. Also had 22 TDs that season last year. Then Jay Norvell managed to do something that's really difficult, which is make news at the Mountain West Media Day conference, right? He was talking to whomever, honestly, because it's about what these guys say. It's not necessarily who they say it to. But he said that his starting quarterback, Brayden Nicolosi Fowler, was approached by someone from where he called Kansas State, right? And Kansas State could mean a lot of different things, right? Kansas State could be a donor. Kansas State could be someone in the athletic department. But he was approached by somebody from Kansas State. What Jay Norvell is claiming that Brayden told him, that they would pay him $600,000 to transfer to Kansas State. $600,000. I think the league minimum in the NFL is up around 8 for veterans, like 800,000, right? 900,000. The league minimum in the NBA is about $1 million. 600,000 for good old Brayden might be overpaying just a little bit for a Mountain West quarterback that was honorable all mention. All Mountain West honorable mention. All right, cool. And you know, Jay was just saying, look, I'm telling you what the kid told me. All right, but you don't believe everything that the kids tell you, and you certainly don't repeat it unless you think there's some veracity to it, and he did both of those things, right? He's also got a real stud over there that many of you do know, named Torrey Horton, who has basically made a cottage industry out of staying at home after being all he down there somewhere last year. Like, Torrey Horton was one of the better wide receivers in all of college football. And he could be playing at an Alabama, an Ohio State, a Texas, a Georgia, someone that is going to probably feature in the national championship conversation in 2024. Think about London Humphreys from Vanderbilt going to Georgia. That's the kind of caliber Torrey Horton is. I would even say Torrey Horton proved himself to be a better wide receiver than he did, and yet he's staying right there at Colorado State. But this is the second time in like a calendar year that Jay Norvell has said something that has made national news. But it reminds me of the first time that I saw and heard Jay Norvell do something like this, okay? So this is about 2014. Oklahoma's good, right? But the wide receiver room could be outstanding because they had guys like Jalen Saunders and Kenny Stills and Justin Brown. Had dudes, Sterling Shepard. We had dudes at Oklahoma, right? Trey McGuire could have been the best wide receiver of that bunch. He was that talented, and Norvell was very eager to get him and get him on campus. And he made one spectacular play during the spring game leading up to that had you going, oh my God, what if this dude turns out to be that guy? Well, September that same year, Trey McGuire got arrested for indecent exposure outside a fitness center in Tyler, Texas. And he got 8 years probation for that. And I'll never forget when this was all going down and there wasn't a whole lot of information to nail down, a lot of facts known. Norvell said to a scrum of reporters for which I was a part that he had a hard time getting his hands around the issue. And for the life of me, I don't know why he said it that way, but I can tell you that we all heard it maybe the way you heard it, or maybe not the way you heard it because you go to church. But that's the kind of stuff that Joe Norvell has been doing for some time, okay? Outstanding football coach, outstanding man, and has a way with his words. If you like the channel, please consider subscribing, pushing to 100,000. Deuces.